Hello, readers! Welcome back to Reading in the Middle, the podcast where we explore the voices, visions, and vivid worlds that inspire young readers, families, and educators. I'm your host, Annisha Jeffries. Today's episode is a celebration of art, memory, food, and family. We're gathered around The Table, a picture book written by Wiley Blevins and Winsome Bingham, and illustrated by Caldecott Honor Jason Griffin. It's a quiet but powerful story about how a single piece of furniture becomes a witness to generations of change, connection, and culture. Winsome Bingham is a U.S. Army veteran, educator, and award-winning author whose storytelling centers Black joy, community, and tradition. Her debut, Soul Food Sunday, received a Coretta Scott King Illustrator Honor for C.G. Esperanza. Also, it was named the New York Times Best Children's Book of the Year. She followed it up with The Walk, a poetic journey to the poles, and just this year released Fish Fry Friday, a flavorful companion to Soul Food Sunday that celebrates family through food, rhythm, and love. Also, another collaboration with C.G. Esperanza. Jason Griffin is a visionary artist and storyteller. His Caldecott Honor winning work in Ain't Burned All the Bright, a collaboration with Jason Reynolds, redefined what visual storytelling can be. His textured, emotionally rich art also shines in My Name is Jason, Mine Too. And now he's stepping into a new role as both author and illustrator with his upcoming solo picture book, Be the Acorn, due out next year. Our conversation, we explore how art helps us process the world, books help children see themselves, food traditions bridge generations, and creative partnerships thrive through trust and vision. Whether you're a young reader, a children's librarian, teacher, parent, or just someone who loves books that nourish the soul, this episode welcomes you to pull up a chair and just come on, join us. Grab a seat and let's gather around the table. Jason, Winsome, welcome to Reading in the Middle. How are you today?
Doing fantastic.
Yeah,
And thank you for having us.
definitely. Thank you for having us.
Pleasure. So I just want to start congratulating you both. Jason, you're a Caldecott honoree for Ain't Burned All the Bright. And Winsome, your book Soul Food Sunday was a Coretta Scott King honor book and just an absolute favorite in libraries and classrooms everywhere. How does it feel, both of you, how does it feel to see your work embraced by readers, young and old?
It's amazing. Art is a tool that I use to process the world around me, and to be able to share that and for it to be received by the community, by people, is just the greatest gift. It feels like, I'm able to have conversations with people whom I've never met, and, to be able to kind of push dialogue and conversation with other human beings is just, it's an amazing thing. And it's an amazing, books are an amazing format to create dialogue. It's very much a solo act, reading, but there is so much, you're in so much conversation, be it with the author, or the artist, illustrator, with the concepts. It could be internal monologue as you're reading. You're having a conversation with yourself about the book, and to be a part of that is just so very special.
Our books get in the hands of children. And so people like JLG or PW or the Horn Book, or those people acknowledge that you create something special. We're grateful. But we also understand that our ultimate goal is to make sure kids get the opportunity to see themselves, right? And also the opportunity to just divulge into great stories. And so we're grateful that we get the opportunity to do that.
Right.
I love that. I love the idea of children getting that, getting the chance to see themselves.
I think about you, Jason, because a lot of people like Jason's family. I love Jason's wife and his kids. He brought his kids, they're artists as well. But when I look at your family, I'm like, yes, this is what it's all about. Just people, right? Just being people, loving on each other. I respect that so much. And to get the opportunity for you to create books that you see your family like sitting at a table, it just speaks volume. Speaks volume.
It does. And since we're talking about the table, let's start there. What did the dinner table mean in your homes growing up? Was it a place for gathering, storytelling, connection, or all three?
All of the above, for sure.
And definitely add punishment for timeout.
I was gonna say, and homework,
Okay.
and board
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, all
You're
those
right.
things.
You're right. Like card games or Uno, something like that, board games, Connect Four, something like you're right. That clicked in there. So it is a gathering
I was
place.
about to say spades. Winston, we haven't talked about spades. Man, you gonna be my
Would I be
partner?
putting you on my team? I need to know. Would I be putting you on my team?
Hey, listen. I should ask you the same thing, and I'll
I'm a
say
spatologist.
it would be tragic if you didn't put me on your team. It would be a tragedy.
Okay, no, okay. I just want to say that, okay?
You said you're a
So,
spadologist.
what? The study up, baby. The study up. I got talent.
Hey, I'm talking about books on books on books. And if I
Stacks on racks.
if I catch you slipping, I'm smacking the card down. I don't even care if I'm a guest. It's happening.
But I feel like when we're talking about playing cards, right? It's strategy. And just the same thing when we create. We have to be strategic and intentional and purposeful when we write or illustrate. It's the same concept, right? Well, because when you're playing spades, it's a group of people playing. When we write books or produce books, it's a group of people producing books. It goes beyond writer and the illustrator, right? We got the design, the editor, like Mark, like all these people. Book is me, and that's all I know how to do. That's it.
That should
Unfortunately for me,
be
I
my
don't
books
know
and
how to play.
spades. That's all I know how to do.
Unfortunately,
We'll teach you.
I don't know how to play spades. You'll teach me, okay? Because I've
We'll
never
teach.
played.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen
not
my
a problem.
family play.
It's a
I just
it's one of these things if you watch, you're like, some people are intimidated by learning spades, but it's an easy game to learn, and then it's very nuanced. So the more you play, the more you kind of develop that skill. Like the same with dominoes. Like my brother is so good at dominoes, and I understand the rules of dominoes, but he just smacks me every time we play because he understands the nuance. He's doing the calculations when he sees like the dominoes that have been played and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it comes with practice, or it comes with
yeah.
being able to look and make a quick thin slice of everything that's on the table. They say the same about chess. It's not necessarily that the masters of chess understand 11 moves ahead. They're actually able to see the whole board as something specific, and they know kind of how the board moves, and they're able to see moves ahead for sure. But I think it's that kind of familiarity that makes them great at what they do. Just like we're trying to be great with these books, Winsome.
Well, it's the listen, and you mentioned dominoes. Now you know my Caribbean side. I'm like, oh, Jason's brother must be Jamaican because the domino is
Yes,
like next level.
Yes,
Right?
is.
Oh, she is? She is? I'm telling you. You know, it's seven cards, right? To each two, each number 8. 5 is gone, 2 on the board. I can tell you got it because the way you flinched when I went like, it's so, like, it's diabolical at this point.
You see?
It's
You
diabolical.
see?
Yeah.
So Winsome, we never knew this about each other, but no wonder our collaborations work so well. We're basically playing spades and dominoes when we work together.
Listen, oh my God, as you said that, we have to share with you. I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital a couple years ago, and I got this email from Jason's agent, and she sent some of his pictures. And I guess his agent was having lunch. She visited Jason's studio and he had some pictures, and she felt like it was a story. And she asked if he didn't have a story. And so she was eating lunch with our editor, and she mentioned it to him. The editor told her to send the pictures to my agent and see if I have a story. Because because he mentioned the collaboration. And from Jason's art, Annisha, I haven't written now in months. I was in the sad state of depression. I was being hospitalized for it. I hadn't felt any creative juice. But as soon as I saw those pictures, I started writing. Listen, I don't even want to cry because I'm here to have a good time. But every time I think about that moment, I feel like his art like saved me. And I've worked with some great illustrators, and each of them brings something unique. CG is a great friend and love his work, EB. But in a time when I didn't even know if I was going to write anymore because I just couldn't find the inspiration. In that moment, seeing those colors, seeing just the stories, I didn't have to write the stories. The stories were already there for me to tell it. It was already there. And Jason, for that, I'm so grateful. I feel like a big blubbering fool right now.
No,
Nah, not
It's
as
just one
that's I'm
thing.
so
no.
honored. I'm so honored to hear that. And, before we started recording, we were talking about my experience of kind of my entryway into children's books and how I do want to touch on the collaboration and kind of the passing back and forth of pictures and stories. But I think we need to rewind a little more so I can share my gratitude for you in my kind of entry into the world of picture books. I had told my wife 2 weeks prior to receiving the manuscript for the table that I would never, and I emphasize never, ever, ever, ever would write a children's book. I was coming off of winning the Caldecott Honor for Ink Burned All the Bright, which is slated as a young adult book, and enjoyed by younger and older. And it was very much kind of utilizing art and Jason Reynolds' writing in a way that was very familiar to my practice as a fine artist. And so I was thinking to myself, like, well, this level of sophistication really speaks to me, and I'm just not sure if I'm gonna get it from an ABC's picture book. Mind you, we read to my kids. I was just, I wasn't even giving children's books in that moment a chance to exist as something sophisticated in my head. And then 2 weeks after I said I would never create art for a children's book, I get this manuscript about a table. And it was amazing when I read it. It was already a collaboration between Winsome and Wiley Blevins. And I couldn't believe how sophisticated and yet accessible it was. And that combination really speaks to me. I'm very much an inclusive artist. I do not like to create work that is over your head or it needs a dissertation for you to understand it. I'm very much, I want to communicate to people of all ages. And this book was taking the idea of a table as a universal symbol, something that every single person on this earth can relate to, spending time at the table with family, the importance of community, those moments with your family that you share around the table that create core memories for you as a child or for your children if you're a parent. And I immediately fell in love, and it became a project that I couldn't not do. And so that's a long way of saying I'm very grateful to you, Winsome, for bringing me into this world with your art, with your writing. So you course corrected, you changed the trajectory of my life with your art. So for me to hear you say that in some way that was reciprocated, whether on purpose or not, the circle is complete. It makes me feel so happy. I had to go there first.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
for sure. So I can
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. No, continue. No, I don't want to interrupt. Continue.
I didn't want to hog the mic, but I wanted to also hop right into sending Winsome the art and then it being at the right time. And then she comes back with yet another story that just knocked my socks off. It was, again, this amazing blend of sophistication and accessibility. We're tackling a very kind of tough issue, but something that doesn't need to necessarily be tough, with death in this next book and how we talk about it with our children. And I I read the words and I was like, man, as a parent, this is going to be such a useful tool for me to be able to talk to my own children about it. You know, I have a 9-year-old. So this is perfect timing. He has questions about life. He has questions about death and the universe and religion and faith and spirituality. And I keep using this word sophistication because I feel like we sell, not we, the three of us, but I think as a culture, as a society, we often sell our kids short. And we say that, you know, we need to dumb stuff down for them. And really, I just think we need to understand their language better because they're thinking next level sometimes. You know, they teach us all the time if we open our minds to it. Yeah.
I agree.
Took the words right out of my mouth because when both of you, I love hearing you both speak about your work with each other. And Jason, your illustrations, they're so full of texture and movement and emotions. And, you know, how did you feel or how did you approach visualizing something as still and symbolic as a table and make it feel alive?
That's a really cool question. And I appreciate you asking that question because I think from a visual perspective, one of the true kind of successes of the book for me as an artist was that I took a table and I didn't have to turn it into a cartoon personality table. I kept it as a realistic view of a table, but made the choice to make it the main character by removing the people's faces. So if you look through the table, it's hands and it's things that are being done at this table. And the table really had to feel real. It had to feel like you were at the table when you were going through the book, because that is something that everyone, again, it's this universal symbol, a beautiful symbol of kind of togetherness and a link in humanity. And so by removing the faces of the figures, but still implying kind of family life, I was able to create a sense that this table was alive and to invite the reader to be at the table as well. That was the goal, and I feel like we were able to pull it off. And that's, you know, again, going back to children's books have to be about something. Everyone thinks they can write a children's book because in their brain it's for kids, it's gonna be easy. But I really love the challenge of this of this profession. You really do have to think these things through. We honor our reader. I really try to honor the reader. I try to honor their intellect. I try to honor their emotional intelligence. And I also know that I'm up against tablets. I'm up against TV. I'm up against, you know, YouTube,
Okay.
video games. So I got to come with something different. I have to challenge myself to come with something different. I have to up the bar for my own self and for, you know, for the books that we create.
Because the uniqueness of the table, it shows how it connects to different families across time. So for both of you, what do you hope readers take away from that powerful transition?
For me, I hope they take away that we're more alike than different, right? Because we're living right now in a time where the world is divided. We're divided at home, we're divided abroad. And I want people to just stop and reflect and understand that we are one, we're humans, right? Two, we have more in common than something that's different. And it's important for us to make sure our kids understand what role they play in society. It's for us to make it better for them. We're constantly modeling for the next generation. And we shouldn't forget that. They're looking at us, they're looking to us, right? So we have a huge responsibility. I really, really hope that kids and parents and families and people and our neighbors take away that we have so much more in common than we are different. Jason?
I mean, you articulated it so beautifully and so to the point. I would just second and repeat your words and say that we are all so much more similar than we are different. And, you know, be it media or propaganda or whatever telling us that we're divided, I'm not buying it. I know that we are but it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm placing my faith, my trust, and my energy into this next generation, the generation whose little hands are holding our books. And I'm saying, believe that you have the emotional intelligence. I believe that you have the mental capacity and the sophistication to understand what we're saying here and to take this lesson with you for the rest of your life. Because it's something, kids are like sponges. I see my kids and they really do pick up on a lot of the things that are going on. They have a lot of interesting questions. And I think that being able to process these big issues with kids in a way that is in their language, we don't have to dumb it down, we have to use their language, is just so important. And so to be able to team up, I mean, Winsome proved it right there. She's able to take complex ideas and distill them to something that's understandable, not just by the kids, but by the parents that are teaching the kids. And I just think that that's so important. And what a great message and what a great kind of creed to live by. And I think that we're trying to show as well. Everyone says, do as I say, not as I do, but we all know that kids do as we do, not as we say. So in a sense, I think even the fact that Winsome and I collaborate together, we're showing you, look, we're able to find common ground. We're able to elevate each other's work. We're able to be able to talk about life's interesting and sometimes complicated and very layered issues through our art. This is something I think this is very normal for Winsome and I. Even at this point, I feel like even after the table that we had been already working with each other for years because we just have that back and forth
Felt that
flow.
way.
Yeah. And I'm sure if we got on the spades table that it'll be curtains for anybody else, but
Yeah, because we're in sync. We are in sync. So yes.
That's the thing.
Well, if you teach me, I'll be a part of that table and I'll help you guys.
We got you. We got you. That's a date. We gotta do a spades tournament, a literary spades tournament. That would be fire.
That would. Okay, keep that. Put a pin in it.
I shall.
Well, you can come to the cookout next year and we'll definitely make it happen.
Okay, I'll be there.
Let's go.
Okay, Winsome. So I'm gonna mention Soul Food Sunday and then your latest book that just came out, Fish Fry Friday. So congratulations on that. It's filled with so much joy and love and food. I love some food that bring people together, just like with the table. So how does the table build on or shift away from those themes of family and tradition?
I don't think it shifted away from it. I think that it is part of it because at the table, they're all gathered, right, in communion. And in fish fry and soul food, that's the whole thing. The difference between the table and those book is the fact that the table holds on to those memories, to those moments, right? In that book, one family put it out inside the road because they had to downsize, and the other family picked it up. But you still notice in both families, they're strong, there's strength in each family. Families are poor. The first family is super poor, right? But yet they made room and space for those that's, to them, less fortunate. I grew up poor, but I didn't realize I was poor till I was an adult because I live in a household where everyone made sure we had what we needed. So it's not like we needed and needed much. We didn't, but we didn't understand how important it was that my mom worked and my grandfather worked and my grandmother worked. And they were just literally the working poor. They're working to survive. I think about that all the time when I look at other countries and I look at America. People work 40 hours and they're still poor. I taught in Virginia at an IB school where parents would not show up for like teachers' night. And everyone's like, well, they should. What? They're working 2 and 3 jobs. So they're making sure that their kids have food on the table and roof over their heads. That's more important than showing up for me to say, listen, such and such. I know what's going on. So let me meet them where they're at and let me accommodate them. Soul food, fish fry, the table, they're really one book because they have the same theme, the theme of family, community, love. And of course, we had to throw some food in there somewhere because, your girl loves to cook and she loves to eat.
I'll be eating, definitely. And you're right. They're all one book. They all have this communal theme in all of them, and that's so important. And with your illustrations, Jason, I'm going to turn it to Ain't Burned All the Bright. What is your secret to saying so much without words? What is that? Do you have a secret?
Secret to saying so much without words. Maybe I could tell you a little bit about my process, because I think that, with Ain't Burned All the Bright, I was sent 3 sentences and was told that I could do whatever I wanted with those 3 sentences. And I ended up turning it into an almost 400-page book. And each project is different. I think about, well, my mentor told me something I think that will really lend itself to this question, which is, if you have a blend of image and text, why should it say the same thing? So if you have, let's take a cover of a well-known book like Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point, which talks about cultural phenomena. And so you have a title like The Tipping Point, and when you think the tipping point, get your kind of creative brains going here and think about images. You might think about the top of a mountain. You might think of a precipice. But what's interesting is that whoever the artist was that designed that cover used a single match. And if you think about a single match and you think about the theme of the book, which is cultural phenomenon and how a small group of people could start a fashion trend, then you start to understand the match represents something small that could essentially start a whole forest fire. And so when I'm thinking about my images and the text, I'd love to say that I nail stuff like that off the top, but my process is very much about creating artworks where I feel the words and the concepts, and then I do almost like a matching game in my studio. So I may take a phrase or a sentence and I might hold it up the same way you hold a throw pillow in your room to see if it matches, or you move a piece of furniture so you could get the feng shui just right. I do the same thing with my art in the studio. I let it come from a real authentic place. And then I step back from it and say, I don't know everything. I know I don't know everything. When I humble myself in the studio and I tell myself I don't know everything, then there's endless possibilities. And I'm able to kind of see what the art has to say, to see what the writer's words have to say. And I get to see it differently. And then I essentially start kind of mapping things out. I start to find these amazing matches, these kind of combinations that I had not thought about ahead of time. I'm allowing myself to kind of improvise a little bit along the way. And so in a very roundabout way to answer your question, it's part control and it's part giving up control and allowing for the art and the words to speak to me in real time, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. I thank you. No, that was fantastic.
Word.
Right? So that's
Yeah.
fantastic, because we have librarians and teachers who are listening, and they want to be able to use your books in such a way in their classrooms, in the libraries. And I want to ask you both, do you have a fun or meaningful activity that you'd love to see happen after they've shared your book, The Table, with their students or their patrons?
Yeah, I really like to do what I call these drive-bys, where I put the big butcher paper on the wall and I divide the students in groups of 4. Last week I did one with a group where they had to come to this cultural cookout. And you are invited to the cookout, but you can only bring one dish from your culture. And I tell them what the dish had to be. So now they have to work together, because if I say you have to bring 2 meats, you need 3 side dishes. You need 3 side dishes, but it can't be the vegetables. The vegetables separate. So you might bring pasta, rice, potatoes, right? In form of that. 3 vegetables, 1 dessert. I always start everyone off with water, because I don't drink water, but I believe children should drink it,
Yes.
And yeah, I know, right? And the beverage. So I will donate to the cultural cookout. Everyone has water. And so now they have to work together in their group to create stuff. And it's always interesting watching them try to figure out which 2 meat. But what I found was interesting, one of the students was from South America, and he put on the board CUY on his thing. And I was like, koi? And he says, koi. And I was like, what's that? And he's like, guinea pig. And I was like, guinea pig, right? And for someone who loved chicken feet and love oxtail, like I am never gonna yuck anybody else food, because when kids like, what's your favorite food? I'm like, if you like chicken feet, that's so gross, right? But I love watching them figure out how to stay in the rubric, how to stay in the parameters, right? They had like 4 different meats. Yeah, but you can only have 2. So now each person bring in their 4 meats, bring in 1 meat each, but now they need to figure out, okay, we can only eat 2. And I love watching one of the kids say, okay, I'll take my meat back, but you have to let me bring my
Or it's like a
rice with.
negotiation.
You know,
Yeah,
and I love that because it forced them to talk. And then the teacher told me, she says, he is my non-talker. He doesn't talk. That's to see, and to see him like that. She even recorded it, and she's like, I'm sending this to his mom. He got really excited because they were able to do that. And I love watching them negotiate, right? Because in life, we're not going to get everything we want. So we have to compromise.
yes.
And I just love watching. So that's always my favorite activity. And then I allow them to reflect like what they liked about it, what they didn't like, because I'm still talking about this guinea pig. I'm like, really? I always thought like chicken feet, because I love it. And the kids are like, oh my God, you eat that type of thing. But that's my favorite activity. And I always tell teachers, like, getting them to talk to each other, figures to strategize, right? Organize and strategize. Children could get into that because you're building little leaders. And I just love for them to say, okay, I'll let you have that if I can bring this type thing. So that's one of
I'd
the
love
things
to
for
be a
me.
student in that classroom. That sounds awesome.
But yeah, she took pictures. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a,
that's
that is a
great.
fun exercise. And so much of like what we're talking about, community, get-togethers, sitting around the table and eating, it's like something that I don't know, like with all the screens and technology and people are more kind of isolated and insulated and working from home, working remote. I think community is part of the antidote to the division. And so getting kids to talk about essentially potluck planning is so
Yeah.
smart because those are some of my favorite memories as a child of going to, my grandma's house and my whole family's there, or going to even like a work park barbecue for my parents and getting to meet other kids and get to drink soda, like all of these things, and to hear that the kids were getting excited about is just so smart and so cool on so many levels.
And they're learning about
Exactly.
each other. They learn about one another, and that's important too, especially the young man that wasn't speaking. I mean, he wasn't talking, but once he opened up, now they're learning about him, and it's
Ye-
so important. And that's just fantastic. I just love that. So real quick, here we go.
She got this sentence.
It's time for our lightning round for you both.
Okay.
Are you ready for our lightning round? I am. Oh, yes.
Let's go.
This lightning round, yes, we don't judge, we don't grade you. We just ask you a few questions, and whatever comes to your mind, you answer that. Are you both ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so
These sound effects are killing me. I love it.
Yeah, let's go.
you like that? You like that?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Winsome, we will start with you. And then we'll go back and forth. My apologies. I'm such
We
a
love
ham.
it.
Nah,
Weren't expecting that, were you?
you hit me with the okie doke. That was fire. I love it. I love surprises.
It's so funny.
Of course. We're just gonna keep it moving and grooving. Cheers all around. So, the best snack at a family gathering.
Snack? Well, I've got to bring up my Jamaican side. Beef patty. Patty.
Beef patty.
Jason.
Is that with the
Patty,
cocoa bread?
Yeah. When you add the cocoa bread, I feel like it's now a whole meal, right? Because the bread swells in your stomach. So it's a whole meal with the cocoa bread.
Jason.
So wait, Oh, so now I say my favorite snack. We going back and forth
You
with the
say your
favorites.
yep,
So
back
there's
and
the
forth.
favorite snack at a family gathering.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to. I learned a new word not too long ago called charcuterie board.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
I was late
Okay.
on that one. I feel like I hear it all the time now. I love like meats and cheeses and crackers and stuff like that for sure. Love that as a snack. Mm-hmm.
And nuts and honey on the side and all that.
Yeah, all that. Give me that nice spread.
Y'all so
Mm-hmm.
fancy. Y'all
Oh
so
yeah.
fancy.
Listen. I am a children's book illustrator. I need a charcuterie board.
I'm going to make sure I have one at the cookout. I promise. Now that I know. Noted.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Now, your favorite book as a kid, Winsome?
Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. I take it. No, it got to be the Nancy Drews because I read every single Nancy Drew, Hardy Boy, and Bobsy Twin as a kid.
Jason?
And I have to say Ferdinand. That was my joint.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I love that.
I have a first edition.
That's
You do.
fire. I want one of.
I found it at a Goodwill for 19 cents.
You know that. You know it's worth something.
I
That's
know
that.
collect. Yup.
What's your address?
You have a collection though. I feel like I need to see the collection.
My gosh. Listen, ask people who know me. I stay updated. I have a lot of what? Ask about that Bingham bookshelf. Ask about it. Yeah. Yeah. I have a collection.
So now we'll go back. We'll start with you, Jason. What would your dream table be made of?
Oh, probably it would probably be like a solid oak, like just a big solid oak table where the whole squad could sit around the table. Maybe like it'll seat like 20 people or something crazy like that. That would be cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Winsome?
In my head, I see books stacked on each other, created this table, and then there's this just a regular glass, but a mirror on top, so they can always see themselves in any state of mind or moment.
Now who's the artist?
When we were in Germany,
Who's the artist now?
yeah, this you
This
know what I
sounds
mean?
this is like a conceptual art piece. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
It sure does.
need you to constantly look at my therapist. She said you need to constantly look at yourself. She said you change every moment, but also if you're at the table and you're with friends and you're having a good time and you're laughing, you need to see that. You need to see yourself have fun in that moment. If you're just having coffee and you wake up and you're not as bright, you need to see that. So yeah, that's
I
it for
love
me.
that. That's a
Yeah.
great idea. I may steal that idea.
It's not steal, it's share. We're here to share.
I'm gonna take it.
Take-
Oh, sure. Okay,
take-
I'm gonna take it. So, Jason and Winsome, you had already mentioned earlier that you were working on something together. Can you share that, like the book that you both are collaborating on?
Oh, Jay.
Yeah, so this is a book. Should we say like the title is on Fridays?
Yeah, we can. Yeah. I checked with Taylor. She said we're good to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the book is about a young boy whose mother is a therapist that works. I kind of picture it as almost like a resident home, but it's in a kind of like a tall gray building, and she works with elderly, and it's about the boy's relationship. He develops relationship with the folks that his mother works with, and each have a kind of a unique personality. One of which is a gardener. You know, she takes care of the garden outside, and she's like a character that's kind of tough love. She, will tell him to stand up straight. But at the same time, she'll take him. Yeah, pull your pants up. But she'll also take him into the garden, and she's very gentle with him. And he develops this. What I love about the book is it talks about the relationships that we can have with our elders. I think that in the West that we don't honor our elders as much as we should sometimes. At least not certain cultures still do, but I'm saying like on the whole, the mentality is young is cool and hip. Older folks don't know nothing. And the older you are, maybe you get put in a home or something like that. But I feel like this book highlights the relationships and the importance of elders and interacting with our youth, and how they can pass on knowledge, they can pass on comfort. So ultimately, the gardener passes away. Miss Neely passes away in this book. And it's about the young boy, his mother, and the two gentlemen, Mr. Riff and Mr. Dillon, kind of processing her passing. And they're doing it in a way that to me was very accessible, and it's very kind of open. It allows for creativity, it allows for imagination. It kind of hits on a very tough topic for all people, kind of our own mortality, but it asks questions and it envisions ways in which we can communicate about this in a way that is kind of uplifting. It's not trying to run from the conversation. It kind of, for me, the underlying message is like through processing these types of things is where we find our place, not necessarily closure. It's where we find our place, and it's where we see like, oh, we're not the only one that thinks this way, or we're not the only one that this makes us sad, or maybe we want space to think really outside of the box and be creative with it. So I think, in a nutshell, that's kind of what the book is about. And it's done in a way that's just very. I love Winsome's words because they're effortful, but they come across as effortless. So as you're reading this book, it almost gives you a sense of permission to have this kind of tough topic, but you feel like you can navigate it with someone that has really given it a lot of thought and has probably processed this a lot herself. And the ideas and thoughts and conversations that come up surrounding.
Is that comes out next year, correct?
Yeah, I think it's slated to come out
Let me just say,
fall of next year. I don't.
fall.
Did I do an okay job
Yeah,
describing it?
No, you describe it well. You did. That's exactly what it is. And I just wanted to add what was so unique about this project is normally as the writer, I would write a text, they'll find an illustrator to illustrate the words. But Jason did the pictures after I saw the picture, I create the story. So we worked backwards this time around, which is very unique. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I had sent you a bunch of pictures, and I remember you said that you were in a place where one of the pictures I sent you was someone playing a guitar, and when you were looking at the email, you saw like right in front of you a guitar leaning against the wall.
The same exact guitar. That was the moment for me. I was sitting in this room. I was in the hospital. And when the email came through, I didn't have access to email all the time. So that was a good day that I had access to it. And I'm sitting in this chair, and in front of me was the same exact guitar that was in his art. And I was like, it was just this like, wait, what? The universe was talking to me. Yeah, it was kismet. And so I just started writing. And I hadn't written anything in months.
That's wonderful. You're right.
Yeah.
That was the universe speaking.
I know
Goodness,
our listeners can't see it, but these are two little cards, and this was the guy playing the guitar that I sent to Winsome. I'm not sure if you can see it very well. And then
I can.
My apologies to the listeners, but then I'll also show you kind of where it's gone.
Oh,
So that's Mr. Riff right there.
just get ready. Next fall, next year. Oh, that's amazing.
And that's, that character came about from Winsome's words. So it's like we're feeding off of each other's energy. We're kind of growing the art like how a conversation grows, kind of creating the layers.
And you don't necessarily have to be together to collaborate, right? You know how some people are like, well, I have to be in the moment. I have to be there to collaborate with you. But it's not necessary. I mean, you can just do it from, go back and forth.
Yeah, because you also want each creator to have their own autonomy and agency, right? I don't want to tell Jason what to draw, and he doesn't want to tell me what to write. We trust and respect each other's professionalism, that we allow each other to do what they do. And I think that's why it works so well.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. It's a great question because I think that when we think of collaboration, even in the arts, we may think of musicians playing together in the same room or in a recording studio. We might think of, the set of a play or the set of a movie where you have so many people working together. But I think Winsome is nailing kind of the collaborative aspect that works for us, which is this kind of trust. There's a trust that when I'm creating the art, I know that Winston was going to trust me, and the same goes for the written word. It's like, nope, I don't need to, that's not where I need to put my energy. And it's a kind of a relief to know that. And it's a relief, and there's something about being responsible for something that gives you the courage to put forth your voice while still thinking of the larger conversation at hand.
And it's both of your voices, and then it comes together, it meshes out to one voice. So it's two voices becoming one voice, and that is one of the best collaborations that you can have.
Well said.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So I am going to thank you both, Jason Griffin and Winsome Bingham. I want to thank you both for this powerful, thoughtful, wonderful conversation and for being on Reading in the Middle. I'm sure my listeners will run out there and get your books, whether that's in an independent bookstore or their local library. Please, 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 you need to just get their books because they're wonderful. And educators, you know what to do. I don't have to tell you. So thank you both so much for
Thank you
being
for
on the
having
show.
us.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having us.
having
And
us.
I meant to do this earlier, but I wanted to shout out the listeners, the librarians, the educators, the parents that are listening. We so appreciate y'all and the work that you do. You guys are the true heroes in all of this for sure.
Yes, I agree. I second that, and third, fourth, and infinity. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
That I- and
We got
Infinity-
what's your outro sound effect? I was waiting to hear.
Oh, you're waiting to hear my outro sound effect? Uh-oh, let me see what happened. Where's my outro? There we go. Yep, there we go. There we go. And that's a wrap.
Thank you, Anisha. Thank you for having us. This was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Excellent.
welcome. Thank you so much to my guests, Winsome Bingham and Jason Griffin, for joining me around the table today. Through this book and through their own individual work, they reminded us that storytelling isn't just about what's said aloud. It's found in the hands passing food, in silence shared between generations, and in the art that captures emotion without a single word. Winsome continues to center love, family, and legacy in her writing, from Soul Food Sunday to The Walk and now Fish Fry Friday, books that honor community through joyful storytelling and deep cultural connection. And Jason, whose Caldecott Honor for Ain't Burned All the Bright made us all stop and feel, continues to show us the power of visual storytelling. His next chapter, a new picture book that he both wrote and illustrated, titled Be the Acorn, coming next year. And we can't wait to see his creative voice take root and grow. And if you like this episode, please, 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 please be sure to subscribe to Reading in the Middle wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on Instagram at reading_in_the_middle for more author interviews, inspiration, and middle grade magic. Until next time, keep reading, keep sharing, and always leave a space at the table for one more story.